I remember the first time I really noticed Sandro Mamukelashvili on a nightly basis. It wasn't a single highlight so much as a series of little moments that kept adding up. A clean catch and shoot 3, a sneaky drive past a closeout, a rebound chase down in traffic, and immediately pushed back into the offense. Individually, these plays don't always make the highlight reel, but together they tell a story about a player who has quietly become one of the more reliable role pieces in the league. Since landing in Toronto, Sandro looks more confident, more dangerous, and a lot more like someone who belongs out there every single night. Let's be honest, he's the kind of player you could easily miss in a box score if you weren't paying attention. He's listed at 6'9", and on the floor he often looks even longer, not just because of height, but because of how he uses his frame. There's a fluidness to his movement that you don't always expect from a guy that size. He doesn't lumber into positions, he glides with purpose. That helps him in two ways. It makes him harder to corral on the perimeter, and it gives him the composure to square up and knock down shots. Speaking of shots, last season was the turning point. He'd been upping his 3-point attempts, roughly 2.6 tries from deep per game. And instead of seeing the efficiency crater like it had in earlier campaigns, the percentages ticked up. When a big man starts hoisting that many threes and actually starts hitting them, defenses have to make a choice. Do you close out and risk giving him space to shoot, or do you play back and let him operate? So far, teams have been punished when they let him breathe. One of the things that stands out to me watching him is how routine his shooting process looks. Watch him receive the ball on the wing, he gets into an athletic stance, takes a small, deliberate hop to square himself, maybe lures a defender with a subtle pump fake, and the ball leaves his hands clean. The repetition is comforting to watch. It's the kind of mechanic-driven shot that suggests his efficiency is repeatable, not just a lucky streak, but Sandro is more than a spot-up shooter. When teams dare him off the line, he's made them regret it. There's this one play that's almost become emblematic of his growth. He catches on the wing, takes a hard dribble past a closeout, and finishes with a drifting floater over a veteran rim protector. The floater isn't flashy, but it's a perfect example of how he counters attention. He's got a quick enough first step to exploit sluggish bigs, and a soft touch to finish when he gets into the paint. That combination, mobility plus touch, is what makes him tough for traditional centers to deal with. His footwork deserves a mention. There's a rhythm to the way he moves that reminds you of other modern bigs who can shoot and handle. He's got a lefty lean to his game that sometimes calls to mind players like Naz Reid, but Sandro brings more perimeter discipline. He's not trying to be a star, he's trying to do the little things right, and that matters. Much of his offense comes from assisted looks, which is actually a positive. Teams are designing actions to get him the ball in spots where he can excel. Catch and shoot, pick and roll to space, or a quick seal on the short roll. That said, he can create for himself when needed. There was an early season sequence where a veteran defender baited him into taking a contested 3. Instead of forcing the shot, Sandro absorbed contact, used a couple of dribbles to reset, and then floated a soft jumper that rolled in. Plays like that show there's creativity under the surface. He's not just a set piece player, he can read the moment and make a play when the defense tries to take something away. Another understated part of his game is his motor. He's active on the glass and he loves transition. He's pulling down about an offensive rebound a game. Not an earth-shattering number, but in context, it's huge. Those extra possessions change the way coaches think about him. I've seen games where he's camped out for second chance opportunities, and a single hustle play created a scoring chance that swung momentum. Hustle matters, especially for a role player who's trying to earn minutes. Passing is something people don't talk about enough with him. He's not being asked to run an offense, but when he's facing the basket, he makes reads. He's got a knack for quick handoffs and for hitting cutters right when they clear screens. He'll even sneak in the odd no-look feed with his weaker hand. In the limited minutes he plays, he's averaging close to 2 assists per game, which is a surprising number until you realize it's the result of high-level spatial awareness and willingness to move the ball. Defensively, he's not going to be every team's best rim protector, but he contributes in ways that matter. He's active on ball, and he understands rotations. There was a play where he hustled back from the weak side, took away a dunk attempt, and then tracked back to a help spot. That kind of hustle doesn't always show up in the box score, but it changes possessions. He's also shown the willingness to contest shots and make his presence felt when opponents try to make clean passes into the paint. Now you can point to advanced numbers and talk about plus minus, offensive and defensive ratings, and how the team looks when he's on the floor. The short version is this: in the minutes he's played recently, the Raptors have been better with him on than off. That's not an accident. He occupies space, which creates driving lanes for guards, and he makes the extra pass to keep the ball moving. When he's paired with the team's primary playmaker and a versatile wing defender, the offense hums. Those lineups benefit from his ability to pull opposing bigs away from the rim, and that spacing allows cutters and off-ball shooters to thrive. All All that said, there are caveats. He's come out hot to start the season, and that creates two natural questions. How sustainable is this? And can opponents find adjustments to limit his effectiveness? Young players often have stretches where everything seems to click. The shot falls, the calls go their way, and confidence spirals upward. The trick is keeping that level of play through the grind of an NBA season. Consistency is the hardest part. One adjustment, teams might try switching him onto quicker wings more often or using more aggressive hedging and pick and roll coverage to take away his space. That forces him to prove he can handle quick defenders and still be efficient. So far, he's shown an ability to use subtle fakes and space to create clean looks. But as teams collect scouting film and game plan for him, the challenge will be staying ahead of those countermeasures. Another question is durability and manageability of minutes. He's not being asked to carry a heavy defensive load against every top center night after night. The Raptors roster construction helps here. They have versatile wings and playmakers who can cover for him defensively. Because of that, Sandro's role is tailor-made. He stretches the floor, provides energy, and doesn't demand everything from the bench. It's a smart way to use a player like him. When coaches can deploy him in spots that expose opponent weaknesses rather than amplify his own shortcomings, he becomes a serious weapon. From a coaching perspective, you can see the appeal. He moves the offense, hits shots, creates second chance opportunities, and doesn't make the kind of mistakes that hurt you late in games. Role players who do the little things and offer positive net impact are rare, and teams win with them. He gives the Raptors a different look than a traditional center, and that spacing and mobility helps their ball handlers and wings play into their strengths. If you're tracking development stories this year, Sandro is an enjoyable one to watch. He's not a lead option, he's not a star, and he's not being asked to carry a team. And that's the point. He's been used precisely in ways that amplify his strengths and minimize exposure. That's how players become dependable rotation pieces rather than streaky one-hit wonders. So what should fans expect? First, enjoy the stretch while keeping your expectations measured. This season is a promising sign that Sandro belongs as more than a depth piece, but the sample size is still relatively small. Appreciate his shooting and the way he moves off the ball. Notice the hustle plays that don't make the highlight package but quietly swing possessions, and pay attention to how opposing teams start to game plan for him. Those adjustments will tell you a lot about whether this is a sustained uptick or a hot streak. Bottom line, Sandro Mamukelashvili is a perfect example of the modern big who thrives in today's spacing-oriented NBA. He creates mismatches, helps an offense breathe by pulling defenders out, and contributes effort plays that matter. If he keeps this level of efficiency and remains available, he'll be more than a role player. He'll be a rotation piece coaches rely on. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'll be watching to see if this becomes a breakout year or a particularly bright flash. Either way, he's earned our attention, and for a team that prizes spacing and versatility, he's exactly the kind of piece you want in those crunch moments.